Hola amigos y amigas, bienvenidos nuevamente a este espacio donde hemos recibido la visita de otro luchador que accedió al llamado. En esta oportunidad tenemos la visita de Vinny Pacifico, luchador estadounidense. Hi Vinny, it's nice to have you here.
How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. We wanted to do some questions to you. We know that you've been active for over 10 years in the independent scene in the US. So let's start with why did you become a wrestler? Why did you decide that? When did you decide that? And what motivates you to continue to this day?
So I started out um, being a wrestling fan, watching SmackDown versus Raw 2007.
Okay.
It was the Boogeyman versus Rey Mysterio. My cousins were playing the game, and I
Uh,
saw that. I was like, "This is so cool! Is this real?" And they
mhm.
were like, "Yeah, this is actually real. This is on television. Like they have wrestling on TV." And I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. So I watched it. I fell in love with it. I fell absolutely in love with pro wrestling in every way. Like first I loved the characters at first, and then I turned to loving the in-ring work, technical wrestling, grappling, lucha, everything. And then I started to play football on the side, but I always had the passion for wrestling in my head, right?
Mhm.
Eventually I went to a WWE live show. It was Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton in the Barclays Center,
Mhm.
New York, and I loved that match. Bryan gave me a high five when I was in the audience, and I was like, "Wow, that's so cool," you know. And then I became a Bryan Danielson fan. And then from that moment right there, where like he's giving high fives to the fans, he gave me a high five, and that was just such a cool moment for me as a kid. And then fast forward a little while, he was doing a meet and greet in New York City. I went to do the meet and greet, and I said, "Hey, I want to be a wrestler one day. You have any advice? Do you have any words of encouragement? I want to try this." And he
Mhm.
was so encouraged. He said, "Go for it. If that's your dream, you chase it." And he was so encouraging to chase that dream and become a wrestler. So a little while after that, I started wrestling, and it was the best decision I made in my life because I love wrestling more than anything. So what keeps me motivated now is just every single year, bigger things happen for me, and I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed. I'm very fortunate to be in the spot that I'm in right now, where I'm getting to travel all over the country every week and out of the country as well. I'm going to be going to Europe all through August, Finland, England, and France. I'm very goal orientated. So I love making new goals, making new achievements like that I have short term and long term, right? So
Mhm.
I just try
Great.
to always make every single day two or three things that make me closer to my goals, right? So it keeps me busy, keeps me motivated, and keeps me just going and ready for anything.
That's awesome to hear. It's always nice when wrestlers have these little moments when they realize that, oh, I love wrestling. I want to be a wrestler. And then those other moments when you go to a live show and maybe you interact with some other wrestlers that you
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know before. And it's also really cool that you had the chance to meet actually Brian later
Mm-hmm.
in a meet and greet, and he encouraged you to do this. And look at you now. You're over 10 years from that moment, still doing this. That's great, man.
Yep. I love it. I love it. I'm very lucky, and I always try to give credit to that because wrestling is meant to make people feel,
Mhm.
make people um feel a certain way, whether it's cheer you, boo you, motivate you, make you cry, because all that stuff. It's just so emotional, and I Brian's one of the best to ever do that, in my
That's
opinion.
definitely. Yeah, I agree with you totally in that. Now I want to ask about your wrestling style. How would you define that? And if you have any references?
I would define my wrestling style as technical, but also some high here and there. I do some high flying, a little bit of lucha. I would say I do hybrid because I was trained by Ring of Honor and they teach everything, right? I was taught strikes heavily by Sumi Sakai. Cheeseburger taught me chaining and grappling and stuff like that. John Gresham taught me technical wrestling, and then I had Delirious teaching me just everything, right? So I was very well rounded in my training, and I would say I mostly I love technical wrestling. I absolutely love grappling, technical wrestling. I love the holds. I love submissions. I love that stuff. But I would say I also do pretty good brawling here and there. So yeah, I would say, but I can adapt. I love that I was trained that way because I could adapt to any style. I did some lucha in Houston earlier this year, and love that too. So being able to learn every single style of wrestling early on in my career was a very big blessing in my training because it's just you being adaptable is very important for wrestling.
Yes. Well, you had really good trainers or coaches. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Subisakai, Jonathan Gresha, Delirious. That's also something really cool about Ring of Honor in when it was like at its highest. You know, they had
Mm-hmm.
like the best wrestlers in the independent scene and different backgrounds, different styles. So now that you start talking about this experience in Ring of Honor dojo, what do you consider the most valuable thing that you learn over there?
Wow, great question. Definitely in the ring, being adaptable and being safe and being ready for anything. Being
Mhm.
ready for anything. Um, you mentioned Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor, they have a division called Future of Honor for their newer talent. That I did a lot of
Mhm.
that, right? But my first time ever working for them was a surprise. I didn't know I was booked, so they told me when I got there, "Hey, you're wrestling on Future of Honor. Get ready." Right? So I had to be ready for anything. In
Mhm.
wrestling, you never know. You never know what's gonna come, and you never know like anything can happen at any time, right? So you have to be
Yes.
adaptable and ready to go. So that's one of the biggest things I learned from being with Ring of Honor is just being adaptable and ready for any moment and making every opportunity mean something, taking the
Yes.
most of every opportunity. But I will say something they taught me a lot heavily was to just ears open and just be a very good person. And that's something I believe those are my morals anyway. I try to always just treat people with respect, treat people with love and equality and all that stuff. So that's something that Ring of Honor is heavily uh taught me, just always be what was it? Just be a good person. Really. That's something that that's something that they preach at their schools. Again,
Mhm.
I always believe to be a very good person, but I always just try and they always make sure whoever goes to that school has good morals and good values, right? And
Mhm.
that was something that I loved about them. And just the vibe, the way we all tried to the way we all collaborated on like just ideas and just being friends and growing together was a very very cool opportunity. And so yeah, I would say definitely something I learned from them was just personality stuff. Like integrity, loyalty, respect. That's something they push heavily. They just want good people, and that's something that I love about them. They want good people around them because wrestling can be full with not very good people.
Mhm.
So I believe always surround yourself with the best people possible and try your best to ignore the not so good people. But just be a good person. Just treat people with respect and equally and love. That's what I believe, and that's something that they taught to their school. So
That's great. Ring of Honor had this thing called the Code of Honor. So they always like preach for this, like respect the ring,
yep.
respect the competitors, respect your opponents, and it's really true. Something that you said. Many people, sometimes fans, don't know what happens in backstage. They don't know
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes, yeah, like drama can happen everywhere, every time. But it's important that the talent are good. They treat each other with respect because that can affect the environment, that can
Yep.
affect the production of the show, and like you said, you never know what happened. For example, this is something that has happened. I won't say in Ring of Honor, but has happened in different places, different promotions. Like people can get in arguments. Maybe the producer said, "Okay, you're not in the card anymore," so they had to change the card. So if you didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a match, you have to prepare a match for the moment. Like you have to be ready for that. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So now I wanted to enter into your gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
So you tend to drink energy drinks. So can you tell us
Yes.
about this a bit,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah. Um, so my character gimmick, you would say, is it's high energy, high, just always energy, always very crazy, right? I guess you could compare it to Popeye with energy drinks instead of the spinach, right? So pretty much, I was driving
Hmm?
EC3. and my buddy JC called me, and they said, "Hey, Vinny, we have a gimmick idea for you, character idea, right?" Because at the time, I really didn't have a character. A few years ago, my character was I was trying to find a new character, right?
Mhm.
Trying to find something more me instead of just whatever I was then. And they're like, Vinny, why don't you be yourself? You drink energy drinks. You are always energetic. You are absolutely crazy. You are always always amped up. So why don't you use that? Be you. Just be like he says. Like I love being around you, and you have infectious energy. So why don't you just use
Mhm.
that in your wrestling? Once that happened, once I started involving energy drinks in my wrestling and in my entrance and in my character, and
Mhm.
because I drink them every day, and everything changed for me. Everything changed for me. The first time I had that drink on the show, came out, new character name, Vinny Power Punch, Pacifico. The fans were chanting Power Punch the whole night, right? And it was just such a cool moment for me. And I said, wow, this character works. And really, it ain't a character. It's me, just turned up a little bit. So, and I find fun ways to use energy drinks too. You drink it. I have it in my hand, duck a clothesline, do a Hurricane Rana with the drink in my hand. You know what I mean? Just different fun things for fans to really enjoy while wrestling. And it's just it's a blessing that I was able to find a good character that's something different, that's something that fans could enjoy. And once that character started growing and growing and bigger and bigger, I actually got an offer to sign a deal with Bang Energy, the drink
Oh
brand.
wow, wow.
And then a few months later, that grew heavily. I got a lot of opportunities out of that. And then after that, they went out of business for a little while. They had a lawsuit. So G Fuel Energy signed me to a contract
Uh huh.
because they were the drink brands. I think all watch who they sign, what they you know what I mean. So G Fuel signed me right after, and things have been just up and up since then. And I'm very lucky to be the spot that I'm in. It's different to have these contracts and these big, huge brands just reach out to me and sign me to contracts, but it's very cool collaborations and very cool ways to grow a new following. G Fuel is very big in the gaming industry. So when they push my stuff, I have gaming and G Fuel fans seeing wrestling and seeing me and seeing stuff like that. So it's really cool to intertwine audiences.
Hmm. Oh, that's great to hear. I knew about this gaming audience that you have because of your sponsor that is G Fuel. So that's great. There are also other wrestlers that really like playing video games, and they do sometimes streams. So
Yep.
we know that there's a fandom that really likes wrestling and video games. So that's maybe something that hopefully any promotion watching this can explore
Mm-hmm.
for business ventures. Um, Also returning to this matter of Ring of Honor, you had the chance, like you said, to compete in there, sometimes in Future of Honor and sometimes in Ring of Honor, but those were like dark matches.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what was like that experience to you?
The best experience possible. Literally the best experience. Like I said, every single time we had those matches, they were just in front of huge audiences, cameras ready to go. Everything was just so professional, and it got me ready for TV.
Mhm.
And you had to adapt to different crowds. We had a show in Texas. We had 3 shows in Texas. I did uh, 2 in Florida, Philly, Baltimore. So all these crowds are different, right? And
Yes.
these Ring of Honor fans are the most passionate. They're the most passionate fans in the world. So they just care about the product and they care about pro wrestling like any other fan. So it was so cool to perform in front of them, and they watched me grow over time too. These fans. And yeah, it was a very cool experience. Very fun, very motivating, and the locker room was probably bar none the best I've ever been behind, as well as AEW. A lot of the guys from Ring of Honor are now in AEW, so a lot of the people who I knew then are now there. And when I worked for AEW a few times, I would say that locker room is bar none one of the best out there because the people are just good people. They want to make wrestling better, and they just you feel the passion of pro wrestling being backstage, and that to me is so infectious. That makes me ready to go. That makes me more motivated and more ready to go more than ever. So I feel like The better the locker room, the better the environment, the better the company's going to be. I feel.
Okay. Now that you mentioned AEW, yes, Ring of Honor is like a sister or brother promotion of AEW because they are both owned by Tony Khan. And now Ring of Honor is kind of different to what it was during the Sinclair era.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you would like to compete in the current Ring of Honor, and also if you could tell us about your experience competing in AEW. You had like 3 or 4 matches in there,
Mm-hmm.
and you also competed in New Japan this last
Mm-hmm.
year. So those are big promotions.
Yes. So New Japan was great, great locker room as well. New Japan itself was one of the best nights of my career. I had a very, very good match. I felt I really enjoyed my time there, and it was such a fun atmosphere. It was the crowd was electric,
Uh-huh.
and just the culture of just like New Japan and just getting to perform there and having people backstage give their knowledge to us, just phenomenal. AEW is always fun. AEW is very, like I said, motivating. You know, I worked there 4 times, and the crowds are just phenomenal. The wrestling is great. You know, best wrestling in the world, I would say. Um, and just the locker room is just all people are just want to make wrestling better. In my experience, when I was there, everyone seemed happy and ready to go and motivated, and that's something that, like I said, it drives me. And yeah, so sorry, excuse me. I've had very good experiences at all these places, and one thing I can say they're all in common is how amazing the locker room is. You know, their locker room is just every locker room of these places that I've been to. They're so good, and that tells you why they are successful on
Mhm.
television and stuff like that. Because if you have people who are motivated, hungry, want to do better, want to get better, want to succeed, everyone else will follow. You know, it just it's energy that comes through.
Okay. Well, you competed in New Japan, but
Mm-hmm.
it was in the US during the Junior Festival last year. But you have been in Japan before and
Yes.
also in the United Kingdom. So can you tell us about your experience abroad?
Yeah, so Japan was last December. It was an experience of a lifetime. Um, the talent out there hits so hard. I love it. It's so gritty, and that's what I love. I love the gritty style of professional wrestling, and that's what Japan was. It was so much fun. It was just different. It was different than what we have here in the States, you know, and rightfully so. Of course, it would be different, right? It's Japan, but I really enjoyed my time in Japan. UK, I love the UK. I'm going back there in August again. And I love, like I said, I love technical wrestling. So getting to grapple with people, getting to do the style that I love most in the UK, I'm very excited for it. Very excited for that experience to be able to just wrestle different styles and wrestle my favorite style.
Great. Now that we're talking about this upcoming tour in Europe, you are also visiting other countries that you just mentioned when we start this interview. But I wanted to know about your expectations for this tour.
So I'm going to Finland first. I have
Hmm.
3 shows in Finland. I have, and then so I have Finland first. Finland, I'm excited for. Finland is different because how many you don't hear a lot of wrestling out of Finland, right?
Yes.
This is one of the very good company. They're a very good company, and it's just I don't know what to expect. Finland's different. I've watched their stuff on television, and it's very good stuff, you know, but just different. So I'm ready to go there and learn and adapt and just give my best. I'm also gonna do some traveling as well and just see the sights and see the beautiful Finland as see the beautiful the nature and the trails. They have a lot of that out there, and
Hmm.
so I'm gonna enjoy my time there, of course. And then England, England, I'm very excited for. Like I said, I have some seminars I'm doing. I have a lot of shows. I'm going to be getting to do one of my favorite styles of wrestling, which is technical wrestling, and that's something that they love out there too. So I'm very excited to be able to do that and just have the best time, you know. And then I go to France at the end of the month.
Hmm.
That's going to be very exciting. It's HCP Catch is the company. They're very very good, and they're very good people. They're very motivating. You know, it's whenever we're talking to them, they're excited and they're ready. They're always happy to talk wrestling. So I'm very excited for that show that weekend. And yeah, it's just three different styles of wrestling. I feel are going to be happening that month, 3 different countries, and it's definitely going to be experience of a lifetime, and I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited to grow and learn and do better and bring my best to these countries and show them what I'm all about.
That's awesome. I hope that this experience broadens yours or horizons. And now I want to talk a little bit about the present. You are now currently tag team champion with Ray Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
You won the titles in April, if I'm not wrong.
Yep. Yep.
What expectations do you have for this reign?
Me and Ray Jazz are Italian. So we did discuss possibly maybe bringing those titles to Italy one day.
Oh wow!
That's like a goal of ours we have. Ray
Yeah.
Jazz is amazing. Ray Jazz is an amazing talent. I'm very happy to team with him. Great person too. We were a new tag team. They said, "Hey, Vinny and Ray Jazz, you're a tag team, right? Let's just see how it goes." Won the belts, so now we're
Yeah.
champions, and now we're like, "Oh my gosh, we're So it's so cool just to see how that was a cool moment for us. And yeah, we want to do more with it. We want to bring it to Italy, possibly. We want to keep doing things. We want to keep growing and definitely just traveling with it.
Okay, so we will be all looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to know a little bit about you, not as a wrestler, as a person. So,
Mm-hmm.
can you tell me if you have any hobbies, things you like to do or see in addition to wrestling?
I love the gym. I love eating clean. I love dieting. Like I love nutrition, right? I have a passion for
Okay.
nutrition and giving and looking up different ways to do what foods are healthy in different ways. Like for example, I love the science behind what type of food does for each person, right? Like if you eat liver, that has all B vitamins in there. If you eat steak, it has iron, all these vitamins. So I love seeing what
Mhm.
um types of food help different things, right? I also really enjoy traveling. Me and my wife, love traveling, love seeing the world, love seeing beautiful things. I love spending time with my family when I can because I'm always traveling. It's hard to always give time to my family, my cousins, sisters, but I try my best to always give my time to them when I can. I love
Mhm.
watching superhero movies. I love Batman, Star
Mhm.
Wars, huge fan of Star Wars. And actually, as of late, I've been enjoying Disney and Universal. I've been to Universal before in Florida, and then finally went to Disney for the first time this year, and I loved it. So
Mhm.
I'm loving these theme parks. I'm really enjoying that stuff.
So that's a lot. Yeah.
It is a lot,
And
yeah.
and you actually said that you don't have time, but you
It's
do a lot.
hard, yeah. I try to squeeze it in. So if I'm in Florida for some shows, I'll
Yeah.
try and squeeze in Disney for a day, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Like for example, I filmed a movie this year, right? It was filmed in Florida, so it took 2 days to go to Disney. So
Mhm.
I try to always squeeze in my passions with my traveling. So I had a show in North Carolina. My sister-in-law lives there. I went to go visit her, right? I have
Mhm.
family. I have family in the Northwest. I wrestled. I go visit. So I always try to like make time for my family whenever I can, but it's not always easy. So
Mhm.
but again, wrestling has always been my number one, and that's how it's got to be. I love wrestling more than anything, and I have goals to catch. So priorities are just wrestling, getting better, and being the best I could be.
Okay. Also, I wanted to know um, what a normal day is like in Vinny Pacifico's life.
Wake up, eat breakfast, go to the gym, train, come back, uh, come back home, post workout meal, right? Maybe some tape study, maybe.
Mhm.
If not, social media stuff for wrestling. Just promos, whatever, highlights, whatever I'm doing, right? Um,
Mhm.
Next, I would maybe go to um, what's it called? I go to stretching classes,
To
stretch,
what?
stretching classes, stretching.
Ah, stretching. Okay.
Yes, like yoga, sort of.
Mhm.
So that I have that's so as a wrestler, it's very important to keep your body mobile, right? Muscles
Mhm.
all able to move, able to be mobile at all times because that's the most important thing. So yeah, the gym, mobility, strength training. Um, I also enjoy shopping sometimes. I have to keep my house. So I go food shopping. I do everything around the house I have to do.
Mhm.
Um, and I do like nature walks. This is like a weekday, right? Not wrestling, right? This is like
No,
a
no.
regular day.
A
Yeah.
regular day. Yeah.
So like in the evening, I'll go for a walk, a nice like walk. I have a trail by my house. Go on the trail, walk around, see some beautiful things, and yeah, that's it. Recovery, just active recovery after the workout, after my morning workout, and I also have a side job at times when I drive a school bus for special needs children
Mhm.
to school. But that's only 2 hours in a day. So I'll do that when I have the shift. I do that, and then after I
Mhm.
go to the gym and do all this stuff. But I try every day to do two or three things that get me better for wrestling, right? Like either whether it's podcasts, media, interviews, um, training, cardio, nutrition, anything I could do each day to get better. That's what I do.
So I get to this point from your hobbies and from what is like a normal day. It's like you're always thinking on wrestling.
Yes, I have to.
So
I try to always just find ways to just get better or to get further in my career. Wherever I can. It's just wrestling is a never ending passion. You have to always do things for it. You have to anything you love. You have to do like this for it. I feel like um you have to always just find ways to get better. In my opinion, if you want to be the best, you have to do things to get you there.
now, if we could do fantasy booking, and you could choose any wrestler from all around the world that you haven't faced yet, who would you choose and why?
Brian Danielson, because Brian Danielson is one of the best in the world, if not
Mhm.
the best in the world. He's the person who motivated me to become a wrestler,
Mhm.
and he's just bar none. There's no one like him. So getting to be able to work with him and have a match with him and anything like that would be the best thing that ever happened to me because he's just the best, and anyone who wrestled him would say the same. So that's my goal. Is my fantasy booking my dream match is Brian Danielson.
I won't add anything else because he's one of the best of all times. So there's nothing much to
Mm-hmm.
say. Now, do you have any goals for the rest of the 2024?
Yeah, I want to keep going. I have a movie coming out very soon, a wrestling movie coming out in the next few months. The producer's doing it. It's in production, but it's coming out very good. That's a very fun thing to step my feet into is acting and just all that stuff. It's very different. Um,
Mhm.
Traveling. I'm going in November. I have a tour in Europe, Netherlands, Romania, Germany, and maybe some more. I'm still working on that tour, so even more traveling, right? And I want to be on TV. Those are my goals. Be on television, keep traveling the world, and have my movie come out and keep doing that stuff. Keep up the acting because acting is really really fun.
Yeah.
Again, it was a wrestling movie, but it had a lot of non wrestling in it, which had to require acting. So it was a very good experience for me and it's a learning experience.
Yes, that's great. Finally, do you have any message for your fans?
Oh my gosh, yes. I will. I hope they know that I appreciate them more than anything. They have been following me for many years. Some new ones, thank you, but the ones who've been there since day one, thank you. It's just been a hell of a ride, and these fans have been so supportive of me, so caring, so passionate about my career and my goals and me getting to where I want to get, and it just means the world to me. And I hope they know that. I hope they know that I see everything and I appreciate everything because without them, I wouldn't be where I am. So I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart that if it wasn't for them, I would not be where I am. So thank you for the support. Let's keep going. And this is a hell of a ride.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Vinny. It's been a pleasure to have you here. Hopefully, not the last time we have you here. Eso ha sido todo por hoy, amigos. Hasta la próxima.